I couldn't really think of a real clever, witty comment or joke that I could make for the start of this video. So let's get straight to the intro, shall we? Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, Jake, the OneManBand is back again, and welcome back to a RWBY episodic review. Now this is technically not an episode, it's a World of Remnant video, but still very, very important due to the RWBY lore and all that stuff. I kind of messed that up, didn't I? To put it in simple terms, these videos are key for us as fans of RWBY to understand the world as good as the creators do. So, what's this video's topic? Huntsmen. Just Huntsmen. Now, it's obvious that as the show has gone on, we have learned quite a bit about Huntsmen. We know that they fight the creatures of Grimm, we know that they're highly skilled warriors, and that they are trained from a very young age. But it is in this video that we get to learn a little bit more about the schools and the history and how the Huntsmen act in society. So, let's start breaking it down. We learn that the Huntsmen are the highest ranked warriors in the entire world. Now, at the beginning of the show and as the show has gone on, we've known that the Huntsmen were good, and they are good at what they did. But me personally, I never thought of them as being the best of the best. I always thought that they were trained to do well so they can do their jobs well. But this has confirmed that they are the highest ranked warriors by any caliber. They are stronger and more skilled than the police and even the military. So, they are in fact the greatest and best line of defense against the creatures of Grimm. And we also learned that the Huntsmen is actually a pretty new thing due to the end of the Great War that happened 80 years prior to the present RWBY timeline. They were formed after the Great War when the Academies were set up. So, they haven't been around really all that long in the grand spectrum of time. 80 years really isn't all that much. That's about 3 generations if you really break it down. So the aspect of Ozpin being the headmaster of all the Huntsmen since their debut is still very much a possibility, due to the fact that a lot of people believe that his semblance is some form of immortality or just very prolonged life. And it is also confirmed that the Huntsmen were set up solely to battle the creatures of Grimm, due to the fact that they are so highly skilled and strong. We learn more about the 4 main academies that train the Huntsmen. We learn that Beacon is in Vale, Haven is in Mistral, the Shade Academy is located in Vacuo, and Atlas is located in the now defunct Kingdom of Mantle. Now, I personally went on the internet, looked up the dictionary definition, even checked in a book dictionary what defunct means. It means that it is no longer living, no longer in existence. So the Kingdom of Mantle no longer exists. It is now the Kingdom of, I guess, Atlas. It is now ruled and controlled by the Academy, and thus Ironwood. As we learned in the previous episode of RWBY Volume 3, that Atlas, its school, and its government are the same. They are controlled by the same people. That is why Weiss was so entranced and excited to tell Winter that Vale has a completely different way of governing things. Alrighty, really quick before we move on, I want to send a little shout out to a YouTube fan of mine, YouTube user Dead Gavin. You sent me a message and you pointed out a few things in the video which I found very, very awesome. One of them being that Sun was originally from Mistral, but he went to Vacuo to train at Shade. Now, it's a journey to the west. Sun Wukong's story, you pointed it out, you're awesome. I probably wouldn't have seen that, but you did. Good freaking job, boy. You are amazing. It was also confirmed that most students go to a primary combat school first. I would think of it as sort of high school. It's high school, and the academies are like colleges or universities, where in the lesser primary schools, they're learned basic combat skills, and it's kind of supposed to rub out all the people that aren't really fit to be huntsmen before they go off to the big academies. But we do know that there are a very small amount of people that go straight to the academies without going to any of the primary schools. Blake is one of these people. And so people can get into the academies without going to the primary combat schools. It's all really based on skill and, of course, strength. And of course, one of these primary schools would be Signal, the school that RWBY was going to at the very beginning of the series, the one where Tai Yang and Crow are both teachers of. At these academies, the students are put into teams of 4 to help encourage teamwork and empathy, to help show that they can't be a one-man show. They need to be there for their fellow man to help protect them, because that's what being a huntsman is about. It's about protecting the people that cannot protect themselves against the evils of the world, that are the creatures of Grimm. And working in teams helps solidify that in a student's subconscious. Now, this next piece of information I found probably to be amazing. It is something that we pretty much did not know about. We learned that the students, once they graduate, they have no ties or allegiance to any kingdom. They don't answer really to anyone. Well, I believe there is probably some form of huntsman hierarchy, probably with Ozpin at the top, but for the most part, they're very much their own people, wandering from place to place. Huntsmen get to choose who they work for and what kind of work they do based on missions that are updated on mission boards. Probably located in probably every major kingdom and large town, I would assume. And it is then from those mission boards that they can pick and choose what they do and go out and make their money. This is what Summer Rose was doing before she was killed. This is before she would go out on missions. She would probably go to Beacon or the Kingdom of Vale. I'm not sure which one would have an official mission board, but she would go to a specified location where a mission board was, find whichever mission suited her needs and wants, and then she would go and do it and make money. So, all in all, huntsmen are pretty much mercenaries, freelancers. They aren't really ruled by a military or by a kingdom or by a king or a governing body of politicians. They're very much their own person. I like to think of huntsmen as very much like a witcher from The Witcher, like Geralt of Rivia, you know, traveling from place to place, taking care of people's monster problems because he is the best person for it. And he has been specifically trained to deal with monsters, much like the huntsmen and huntresses have of Remnant. But, of course, every good, awesome news comes with a little bit of bad. We also learned that Atlas has fallen under a lot of scrutiny with the rest of the world due to the fact that it's turned into a very militaristic academy, and it strongly encourages that its students join the special military force, the Atlas Special Forces unit that Winter is a part of. So essentially, the military is now getting some of the best and brightest warriors that are meant to be freelancers, which are meant to have really no ties to any kingdom. But if they're under military rule, they fall under Atlas's jurisdiction, Ironwood's jurisdiction. Now, I can see the logic in that. Ironwood wants to have some of the best soldiers that he can due to the And even though he's trying to get humans out of the field, he still needs a few humans to be there, to be the special forces, to do things that robots can't. So, logic sort of dictates that he would need the strongest of the strong. Now, yes, there is scrutiny behind it, and I think the way he's doing it is a little bit below the belt. But I can see his logic. I can see why he wants to have these people. Maybe turning the kingdom into a pseudo-military kingdom ruled by a general and by the Huntsman Academy, maybe going a little bit too far, but I guess really time will tell what will happen due to this. Now, of course, like the previous world of Remnant, one of the very biggest things is the very end, the very last quote. Huntsmen are meant to be the best guardians for humanity, and they are supposed to never succumb to the darkness. What does Ozpin exactly mean by darkness? Well, if we think about it, darkness can mean the creatures of Grimm. Now, succumb to the creatures of Grimm? That doesn't make sense. They fight the creatures of Grimm, and they mostly triumph over the creatures of Grimm. And they wouldn't really turn to the creatures of Grimm's side, because the creatures of Grimm really aren't a sentient being, per se. Darkness could mean death. Huntsmen are never supposed to succumb to death? That doesn't make sense either, because they know that they can very much die out in the field. And even though they probably don't want to, it's an occupational hazard. I mean, if you go out, any mercenary knows, if they go out to do a job, they may not come back because they're doing the jobs that nobody else will or can. So, succumbing to the darkness being death, doesn't make sense. It makes me believe that the darkness itself is some form of entity, a presence, a state of being, maybe. Sort of like the dark side of the Force, maybe? And maybe it's what that red, black orb that's been shown in the intro sequences is. Maybe that's the darkness, some form of presence, or foreboding entity that is trying to become concrete and whole in the world, maybe. I mean, I don't know. What does it exactly mean by succumbing to the darkness? I want to know what you guys think. 'Cause, for real, I'm stumped. Well, okay guys, that's pretty much going to end this video right here. It was just a short little video, so you get a short little review. But hey, this leaves me opportunities to make some other videos that I've been wanting to make. Of course, one of them is the Guardian video of RWBY, but I also have another one. One that, well guys, I think I finally found out what Cinder's master plan is, and how I think she's gonna accomplish it. So, if you guys want to see that, be sure to like and favorite if you've enjoyed, subscribe of course, but only if you feel inclined to. Leave your comments down below, questions, comments, anything along those lines, even your crackpot theories, because I would love to read them. Remember to be a good person, tip your waitresses, keep moving forward, and I'll see you guys next time. Yeah!